right, it's loading, it's loading. And I believe we are live. All right, here we are. Hello, everyone. How are you? So my name is Gift.
And I'm Amy. Welcome to CripTalkCorner.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here with you, Gift.
Okay.
I want to introduce you first.
All right, cool.
Okay, so Gift Chuma is a very close friend of mine, and he is a revolutionary thinker and community builder who works in the field of accessibility advising at McGill University. And he also has a lot of different cool creative projects, like a choir that he co-founded over a decade ago, and a cool book project called The Lighthouse, and a lot of other neat ways of getting like disability knowledge and community building out there. So I'm very happy to be spending time with you today, Gift.
Thank you. Wow, that's quite an introduction. Yeah, and I'd like to introduce you to my best friend, Amy. She is a very, very, very prominent activist within the Montreal community and across Canada as well. Some of you might know her through her Underwater City Project zine. If you haven't read that or listened to that, check that out. It's super, super cool. And yeah, and she's like the up and coming writer, if I may disclose, who's going to be publishing a novel soon. Am I right? So watch out for Amy Lowe. She is a force to not to be reckoned with.
Why, thank you. And we're joined by our friend Brooke Nanskivel. And I'm personally very happy that you're interpreting for us, Brooke, because you've been a member of Accessible Eyes in different ways for a long time. And now that you can lend your interpreting skills to our different gatherings, it's so awesome to engage with you in that way too. So, and I bet it's kind of funny to interpret this, but I'm making you do it anyway. And we have Charles too. Gift, why don't you intro our friend Charles, who's our not on screen but very present member of our team here.
All right. So in the background, you don't see him, but we have our friend Charles. Charles is going to be basically assisting us with forwarding all your comments and questions live to us through Zoom. So he's going to be managing all the comments that are coming through the Facebook feed. So yeah, feel free to fire away.
Yeah, and if our volumes are unequal, can you also let us know that way too? Because it's more of a technical thing, but it's something that I want to balance out if possible. So let us know. First comment, maybe?
Please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So we're here. Why don't we give a little background about what brought us to do this Facebook Live?
All right. So about a month ago, we did a discussion with Jason Da Silva, basically post his, after his film, When We Walk. And we were just like discussing about like some of the themes that resonated with us while we're watching the movie, and how that also relates to our day-to-day experiences. And we really enjoyed that dialogue quite a bit, to a point where Amy and I were like, wait, why don't we make this kind of like a thing that we do on a more like informal way, where we're speaking to our friends, our community, um, about issues that are so important to us. And that's where Crip Talk Corner was birthed.
That's right. And something that you said, Gift, because we were both kind of like hyped up after that conversation with Jason De Silva. And we should also say thanks to Cinema Politica for like bringing us together in the first place for that. And yeah, and we were talking and we were just like kind of hyper and like debriefing after. And then you said something that really stuck with me. You were like, why don't we do this on our own? Because you know what, we need each other now more than ever. And that really stuck with me because, in the current situation that we find ourselves, the more ways to come together and share some laughs and share some knowledge or resources, the better.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah. So before we start, like we just like to just like lay out like some of the parameters, I guess, for the discussion. Yeah, do you want to start, Amy? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, why not start with the name? We are two people who use like the word crip in a rather like fun and casual way, and we got some feedback already on our Facebook page, Accessibilize Montreal, which is awesome because we're hoping for this to be an ongoing discussion with people we know and people that we don't know. And so we thought like we could just let you know what that word means for us, because it means different things for different people, and it can, historically it's been quite an insulting word. So for me, it's sort of like a way of reclaiming or like taking some of that power back that maybe has been used as an insult in the past, and saying like, no, I like it. I'm good. And it's also like a helpful shout out to other disabled or chronically ill folks who similarly like take that word and wear it as sort of a pride symbol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, basically we also want to make sure that this is like a safe space for everyone, to ask questions, to make comments, or even share experiences. We just want to highlight that we would like to give like a priority to folks who identify as a person with a disability or as a disabled person. And that doesn't mean we're silencing the other voices. Please participate, please ask questions as well, but we just want you to be cognizant of the amount of space you may occupy, just to make sure that other voices are included into this. And
Totally.
yeah, Amy, do you want to explain like what we mean by disabled folks, or someone who's identifying as a person with a disability?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because it's always one of those catch-22s where you want to like name different experiences and say like, if you have a disability or if you have experiences of like chronic pain or illness, and then also by defining it, it can also be like unintentionally like leaving people out. So I guess I would say like the broadest sort of if you've experienced disability, if you feel like you have, and if you've come up against like accessibility barriers that have like marginalized you or kept you out of spaces, then that's what I would define like disabled as. Because when we start getting into different diagnoses, there's also the question of like people who might not have a clear diagnosis but know like, hey, I struggle with energy or pain or whatnot, you know. Yeah, and then I'm really excited that we have interpretation too, and we've planned some future discussions if we do continue with some deaf folks that we know who are more ASL speaking. But yeah, I'm really excited to sort of like invite also any deaf participants who are out there taking our discussion in, because even though like for sure a lot of differences exist between our communities, there's also some shared similarities, and so I'm excited to like build friendships between hearing and deaf folks who have, you know, different perspectives but can also come together when appropriate, and like build some friendships there too.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
that.
That's that. So shall we dive in? So so like as our first discussion for this hopefully series, if you guys do enjoy this, is social isolation as a CRIP, as a disabled person. How has quarantine been in general?
Mm-hmm. And it's something that you and we've talked about just as we sort of keep in touch over FaceTime and whatnot. And so we thought, okay, well, it's a pretty current topic, so why not start with that one?
Yeah.
And you and I have had quite different experiences because we're in different spots and we have different like daily routines and everything. So we could start, but we really invite people to also comment in too as we go along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try our best to respond as as we can. All right. I guess I can start. So honestly, quarantine life has been it's just tough the first 2 weeks, I'd say. Just adjusting to working from home, adjusting to the fact that my home has also become my office space. And then just figuring out ways on how to separate that work environment with my home environment mentally. So that was a challenge for the first few weeks. It's getting better now. I'd say like the main, like other than the work environment, the main challenges for me was like the care support within my home, because the people that assist me, they work with maybe 10 to 15 other people. And in this climate, it's something that really has increased a lot of anxiety for me, knowing that I'm in very, very close contact with people who have come across a lot of people throughout the day or throughout the week. And it's been a challenge to not spiral because
what do you mean spiral?
Spiral down into my dark cave. yeah, it's fell down into
Yeah.
my dark cave of like, yeah, really negative thoughts, or thinking
Yeah.
of like the worst outcome possible. Um, and
It's fucking
honestly,
stressful, man.
it really is.
Mm-hmm.
It it really has been, and I think um the moment where I really like started freaking out when three of my care workers, my attendants, tested positive with COVID. Um, that was the moment where I was like, oh crap. um,
Yeah.
because this is something that was definitely in the back of my mind throughout this whole process, and finally it had hit so close. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, and the
something.
question of like where did they get it, like, and how long, and all those questions came to my mind when you told me
Mm,
too, because um yeah, like for a while some of the folks who work in your place were working in other buildings too, right?
yeah, they were working in other buildings, and some folks they work for an agency, so that
Yeah.
means they could be working in like 15 to 20 houses on a given week.
All right. So you
And
like the control element is like very
exactly. And
not
I
there.
am personally in contact with 10 different people on a given week. So yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough. Um, and then I got tested and everything, and I was okay, thank God. And but definitely the anxiety is still there. Um, but it, yeah, it's just like I try to to make sure that I don't dwell in those thoughts too much, because it can be quite scary. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been
God,
receiving
yeah.
a lot of supports from friends, definitely. Friends like with groceries, and even just like emotional support too. I found that to be quite helpful.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Amy?
Yeah. Well, I have been in BC since the quarantine started. So I normally live in Montreal, but as you know, I came out in early March for a literature festival, and I was really excited because it was going to be the first time that I was reading in one, and so it's kind of like a big moment for me. Yeah, it's a Growing Room Festival in Vancouver. People can check them out because they're so awesome. Um, and it was canceled, as many things have been, obviously. But I was already here, so luckily I have family here, so I decided to stay put and not like put myself at more risk by getting on a plane at that point, because that really didn't appeal to me at all. And so I had choice in terms of like where I was going to go in a certain sense, because I could have gone back, but um, yeah, it made me really nervous to travel, especially once the lockdown kind of started. Um, and then since then, like the first 2 weeks were, I would say, like a huge adjustment. Um, so I do work from home normally as like a writer and freelancer. Um, so that part wasn't so much different, but the um, the uncertainty of not knowing what was coming next was quite stressful, especially in terms of contracts and work stuff. So we had very different experiences, but definitely like the first few weeks before like financial aid was announced by the government, I was um, just trying to like deal with a new situation, and then also like really trying to figure out my next work moves, which is kind of a state that I've been in for, I don't know, maybe 2 years or something, but it was like really amplified this time. So that was really stressful. And then since then, I've been kind of working on calming myself.
And what does
So
that
it
look
sounds,
like?
what's that?
Like, what does that look like practically? Because
Honestly,
I
it's
could
like,
imagine.
you can picture me just, what does it look like? It's um, like sleeping for like 10 hours a night, um, getting up nice and early, doing exercise in the morning, and then because I'm in a small town out here, I am able to spend quite a lot of time outside and not come into contact with like hardly anybody. So I'm just like wheeling around a lot.
Hmm.
I didn't tell you this, Gift, but I've become like quite a like an adventurous like wheelchair driver because I need to get like my thrills somehow. So I'm just like I'm
Please
finding all these hills and stuff, and I'm just like, so I'm pretty sure like the folks in this sleepy retirement town are like, who the hell is that woman in like her pajama bottoms, like going down all the hills? But
So yeah.
no, go ahead.
I'm just imagining you just like driving super fast on the
Of
street
course.
and listening to loud music.
Bingo, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really lovely, and like normally my exercise is like swimming, so that's a shift too. So I had to kind of make a conscious effort to still like do some sort of exercise in order to like reduce my pain and just like generally feel good. So I've been dancing just at home,
Nice.
listening to some tunes. But something else that I have been doing to relax is just like lie down for a few minutes when I get tired. Not always, but I'm trying to just do that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
super
interesting that
basic,
you
right?
mentioned that. Because even myself, I'd say throughout the day, every hour I would take like a 5-minute power nap, sort of thing.
You do?
Yeah, like 5-minute power nap every hour or two. It usually helps me to.
Wow.
Yeah, because I spend a lot of time in the computer with my work.
Yeah.
From like 9 to 5, so I find, I've been finding taking like short power naps every hour or two helps me throughout the day to kind of like maintain my energy level.
Mind blown, Gift.
I'm not a napper.
I didn't know.
For
I
those
didn't
who
know you
know
were a
me,
napper.
I'm not a napper at all by any margin, but this is what working from home has done to me.
Oh, it's just since you started working from home.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, great. Because I find it also makes me feel less cranky.
Yeah.
Like a toddler.
I'm
That's
sorry, we
great.
just received a very interesting comment from Stephanie.
Oh.
She's asking if you're still wearing your Crocs.
Well, then I know which Stephanie that was. Hey, Steph. So, okay, well, should we tell the story of my Crocs? I mean, basically, like, okay, well, that's our good friend Steph who like introduced us because we actually met through your choir, Gift. You and Paul founded your choir, and then Steph was singing with you.
Yeah.
And then she told me to come and join you.
Yeah.
So that's fun that you're there. I have had a series of turquoise blue Crocs in my life, and the most famous pair made it onto global news, I believe, is where
Yes.
Stephanie saw it.
Yes.
Because at that time, like I had a broken leg, and then like I had a mishap in the metro because of inaccessibility problems, and so um, that was like my foray into like speaking out about access stuff on the news. But yeah, Steph always takes the opportunity to mention my fabulous Crocs whenever she gets
Nice.
a chance. So I don't have them here, unfortunately. So if anyone wants to send me a pair, yeah, no. But what? Oh, somebody asked you, does your boss know about your super power naps gift?
Well, we're encouraged to leave the screen to rest our eyes. So I've interpreted that whatever way I can, Mr. Mike. Um, so yes, to me it means power nap. So yeah, I'm not gonna
Is it?
stare into space for 5 minutes to rest my eyes. Might as well recharge. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's a crime.
It's not a crime. Mm-mm.
Last I checked.
Yes, yes.
Does anybody out there who may be listening have other ways that they are calming themselves that they would like to contribute? Always down to learn new um, tricks that people are trying besides napping and sleeping.
Please.
I'm noticing a theme here, though. It has to do with sleep.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also like how quarantine has been for you guys. Like, yeah, would love to
Mhm.
hear how your experience has been. The positives, the negatives, of course.
Oh. You mentioned web meetings gift, and um, something that, especially at the beginning
Mm,
um, of quarantine, I was finding myself a bit like bitter about um, two things. Well,
mm,
probably more, sadly, but I'll tell you about two things. The first one is like having suddenly like a shit ton of web accessibility
yeah,
all of a sudden
yeah.
because like now there's like an external thing
Mhm.
forcing the majority of people to stay home. um there was all of a sudden way more access to things online, and
This is vexing.
it's like it's it's a positive thing, right? But then
Yeah,
my like emotional reaction was like, you know, fuck you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I would have really loved that like so long ago, and so clearly I'm still a little like sassy about it, but um yeah. And then the second thing that hit me, and I actually did a lot of like work to just like kind of let go of that frustration, but was seeing um especially at the beginning, like people who normally have full access to whatever
Mm.
feel or expressing their frustration or sadness at like canceled things like way louder than people who might be excluded because of access things. And so I was just like a bit like grumpy about it.
Mm.
um but there's also an opportunity there, right, to say, okay, well, now that we've tried web things and then a lot of them work really well,
Yeah.
um we can expand those things and keep them going too.
And I think this also even like opens up like a bigger discussion with regards to the job market for disabled folks, right? Um, with this experience, I'm hoping that uh, the job market would increase um, for disabled folks because there's a really high percentage of the disabled folks who are unemployed, underemployed in Canada. And largely it's due to like not being willing or flexible to accommodate folks with disabilities within their work environment. So seeing that like most people have been working from home, hopefully this will at least open up many avenues to increase the employment rate. What's your take
For
on
sure. My take on it?
that?
My take on it is that as a group of people, like we need to keep that pressure and momentum going, because it's sort of like an opportunity to, now that those doors are open, to not have them closed. So but it's hard, right? It's hard, especially if people are already tired or advocating in other areas to expand that. But I really feel like now's quite a good time to start thinking about coming together and making like demands as a group for workplace accessibility, even things like beyond work, like having remote doctor consultations stay available, because all of those things that just end up taking away so much of our time or energy could be better managed. So yeah, that's my take on it. What about you?
I don't know, like I feel that this will at least reduce the excuse that bosses have when it comes to access needs and flexible accommodations. And yeah, I'm hopeful because as I mentioned, I think in the last discussion that we had with Jason, there were like, I feel like now there's more and more community mutual aid for folks, whether they have a disability or not. So I don't know, some may call me naive, but I think community care will not end within this climate that we're in, but it's gonna continue on even stronger when we return to quote unquote normal environment. So normal, environmental lifestyle.
I don't call you naive, Gift.
Oh, thank you.
I call you visionary. So we have some comments coming in.
Yeah.
Do you want to read one, or should I start?
You can start.
Okay, Amy Ma. Hey, Amy. Thanks for joining us. Amy said, absolutely hope people see that work from home is great and that this opens more opportunity for people with disabilities. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And Christina Johnson says, yes, definitely salty re-accessibility is a priority. Good, I'm glad I'm not the only salty one. Amy also said, so far I've been able to access webinars on all sorts of interesting subjects. COVID-19 Basics, run by London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Design in Healthcare, run by Alberta Health Services, and Equity and Accessibility in Pandemic, run by Cities for All. Oh, cool. So thanks for sharing all of those awesome webinars. Maybe some people will see them below the video and check some of those out. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, and Simon. Hey, Simon. Oh, nice to see that you were able to join us. Simon said, what about music to help you sleep? Gift, do you listen to music?
I have a varied playlist. So it depends what mood I'm in, right? If I'm in a like, I hate to work today, then I'm gonna listen to like some drum and bass, or yeah, some really like fast-paced R&B stuff, just to get my blood going. If I'm in a mood of like, life is beautiful, the world is great, then I'll listen to some jazz, classic, or some good pop, or something like that. Yeah.
Nice. You're a man of multiple tastes.
I got to be.
I listen to podcasts to fall asleep. So sometimes they have music in them, but I listen to storytelling podcasts like The Moth because, yeah, I find it quite calming to just have like one person's voice, and then usually the stories are like shaped in similar ways. Like there's always kind of like a close and there's action and stuff. So I find it quite, yeah, it's like and that's not to say the stories aren't good. It's just like it happens to help me fall asleep. But I do listen to them too, you know. But, yeah. Okay, I have a comment here from Anna Weber.
Okay.
Hello, Anna. My partner's church was very much an in-person type community, and I immediately jumped into the web-based live streaming and Zoom opportunity. They are now seeing how many more people who have been in long-term care or unable to attend in person are now joining in. Oh, that's really cool. And then Anna goes on to say, the church is taking the opportunity to expand and continuing offering off-site joining of activities via the interwebs. And then they're increasingly aware of the needs of those without internet and related skills and making accommodations there too. Yo, that's a good point too, because, you know, if somebody doesn't have access to internet or just doesn't use computers, then that's a huge problem too. Another accessibility barrier that comes into play. Don't want to forget that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
My comment from Dixon: gift be diverse. Oh, thank you. I know I'm boring. Thanks, Dixon.
Can you say that again, Gift? I just missed that.
We just received a comment from Dixon. He says, gift be diverse. So for those of you who don't know who Dixon is, folks, Dixon is my long-term best friend. Sometimes he thinks I'm very boring. Granted, but he does not appreciate my diversity. So it's all very relative, very diverse. Thank you very much. I guess we'll
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic right now. So confusing. You are, right? Yeah.
I am.
I know. I figured it out.
Yeah.
So we were gonna talk a bit about some of so we touched on it a bit, but like some other positive sides or like learning opportunities during social isolation. And I don't want to downplay how hard things are for some people, especially because I know that shit's really scary for a lot of people right now. So without sort of saying, oh, it's all good, like everything's positive, I think there is also an opportunity to pause and reflect, and so it would be cool to talk a bit about some positives that we see at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think, Gift?
Yeah, I mean, like, I touched upon it briefly before about the power of community. Like, that's been like the positive that I've seen. I mean, even my neighbors too. Like I had a neighbor throughout the weekend who dropped by and says, "Oh, if you need anything, let me know, whether it's grocery, whatever." So yeah,
That's so nice.
yeah, and I never really spoke to that neighbor before. We've crossed paths a few times, but we never spoke, and it was nice to kind of like even connect in that way. And like I live on the third floor and he lives on the first floor. He came up all the way and knocked just to say that. And
Wow.
I was touched. I was like, wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, that's so nice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah. So we have another comment from Amy Ma. We have a comment from Dixon because I guess he felt offended with my comment about how he's judging me. So he says, "No, I was saying your music is diverse." Thank you, Dixon. We can be friends again. All right, moving on.
Thank God you cleared that up.
Yeah, thank God. Our relationship can last for another decade. So we have a comment from Amy Ma. Says Cities for All webinar featured Judy Herman, the MLK of Disability Rights Movement. Lots of innovation going on around the world. Barcelona is a dream come true for accessibility during time of pandemic. Plus, did you know Boston's public transit has teamed up with Uber to provide on-demand paratransit? Only 15-minute wait during peak times instead of booking 24 hours ahead.
Excuse me? I did not know that.
Should we move to Barcelona? That is
well,
cool.
This is Boston, man.
Oh, Boston. So
I would move to either with you, to be honest.
Excuse me, Boston. That's super
wow. Cool. No, I did not know that, Amy. I'm gonna look into that. That's wild.
That's crazy.
Whew.
And honestly, that makes a huge difference. Like when I was in the UK in the fall, it was my first time to actually use accessible Uber. And it was like such a relief to be able to just go out and about spontaneously without having to book for adapted transport. So yeah, I could see how much impact that could have on folks. That's so
definitely cool. Yeah.
Oh.
That's really cool. We got a comment from Jen. What? Hi, Jen. This is going back to Wi-Fi. When we were talking about how access to internet can also be a barrier for some people. And Jen, pardon me, Jen says, I'm really not surprised to hear about the need in long-term care. Many homes don't have building-wide Wi-Fi and don't consider internet connection an essential service for residents, even when there's young disabled people and isolated seniors living there. Sure. There's been a lot of folks talking about how to get folks in long-term care hooked up with tablets, computers, TVs, and stuff. So important. Yeah, that's such a huge point. Oh man, that's gotta be rough, not having access to even like a tablet to make FaceTime calls and stuff. Hey. Wow. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a comment from Dixon again. Dixon. All right. Dixon says, I heard that with online work, making the pool of applicants for jobs widening, since places can hopefully hire people from various places rather than locally. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because I mean, if you don't have to go into an office, or if you go less, then yeah, it could change the geography of where people work for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, which would be great for us Anglos in Montreal.
It's true.
Just personally speaking. Yeah. Oh, cool. We have another comment from Christina Johnson. Hello.
Yeah.
Christina says, I'm lucky I still have a job. I know it could be worse, but grateful there is less pressure to be 100% productive right now. And in my work team, I'm lucky we value mental health. Damn. Yeah. Isn't that the case, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that for you, Christina, because having colleagues who get the need to like take care of yourself and the people around you is so meaningful for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something to be said about the productivity piece too. I mean, normally the people I talk about productivity problems with are mostly disabled people because I guess I feel like safer talking with people who might have similar experiences to me in terms of like feeling like I need to measure up or work at a pace that is like normal or standard. And personally, I'm realizing I think that like that's maybe more a myth in my head than an actual rate that like I have this like I have had in the past this idea that people who aren't disabled or whatnot like just work like nonstop. Like, that shit ain't true to begin with, but it is pretty cool to have those conversations with people of all walks of life right now, because people are realizing like because of external circumstances they can't focus as much, or they need to take care of family members. And yeah, just like people in my life are centering each other more, and that's really like beautiful, to be honest. It's so important.
Sure.
Yeah, so we're almost at an hour. It's like 8:03 your time. What do you think? How are you feeling, Gift?
I'm feeling good. Like this has been like super cool, super interesting to just chat about this, and also to hear from people and stuff. Yeah. Oh, we just received another question.
Okay.
Do you guys prefer to work online or in an office or a place not at home? Oof. For me, I'd say, okay, a while back I used to do freelance full time, and I had the choice to work both from home or at a co-working space. And I really like that flexibility where I was able to work at the office 3 times a week and work from home twice a week. That was honestly amazing for my mental health and even from my productivity level. But I think being forced to work from home, I do not enjoy it as much. So yeah, to answer your question, Dixon, I would say I like having the choice to do both, because I can decide when I actually have the energy to interact with a lot of people. And also if I'm not feeling too well that day, but I'm able to work, I can still work from home. So like, yeah, like I don't yeah, I like having both, if that makes sense.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite similar to you. I miss having colleagues. Like, since I started pursuing writing and like media production full-time freelancing, I really lust after having colleagues because I find the little things that you could just like stop by somebody's office or make a quick call to somebody and say, hey, is this email like too weird, or like just like small second opinions.
Yeah.
I look forward to having those again in some way. I don't, honestly, man, like I didn't realize how lonely I was this winter in terms of my days, because I had a few like stressful deadlines and stuff, and I was just kind of like spending way too much time on the computer and not going out because it was winter in Montreal. And so that aspect, hold on, I love that mute button. I just cleared my throat.
That's power right there.
That's the best of Zoom coming at you. Yeah, that aspect I have a hard time with about working from home. But the other side of it is that it's liberating to be able to kind of like work from wherever. And I do a lot of writing just on my cell phone when I'm out and about, and like, so not having to be in the same spot from 9 to 5 every day is also a huge privilege. So I do see that, but it's really, I don't know, I find it hard, like emotionally, to always be alone every day. So I don't know if that fully answers it. I guess I would like a mix as well. Or even, yeah, like co-working spaces where you might not be working on the same thing, but you still make small chat and have coffee breaks and stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw a comment from Julie Saint-Fessel, I think is your last name. Thanks for joining us. So Julie says, hello, I am glad to be with you tonight. Well, we're glad to have you. Web access is indeed the name of the game these days. As a person with low vision, technology really helps. Cool. Having faced challenging circumstances, I had not been able to afford a private, personal internet connection all the way from 2016 to 2 weeks ago. Wow. It was very tough, but without the internet, it would have been even tougher. Normal circumstances are challenging, and COVID-19 exacerbated the long existing cracks in our social and health network, such as disability, poverty, and isolation. True that. And then Julie goes on to say, it makes being alone more challenging. Yeah, for sure. The positive side manifests itself through the hands-on approach and compassion of other people. As for our system at large, much work needs to be done. Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah.
True that, Julie.
Truth coming from Julie. Yeah, and I mean, one thing that I have, I don't know, what do you think about this, Gif? I kind of feel like because people are like talking about how some systems work, some don't in our like country or general global system, like it does seem like now is a time where we see that they can shift with some adjustments. Like all of a sudden the fucking economy just stopped because of health. And so I kind of feel like, okay, well, now we can also make conscious choices like as a society and say, okay, if people want to spend more time with their families,
they can. Yeah.
Why the hell not? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Julie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have more comments here coming through. All right.
Yeah.
So we have a comment from Amy Ma. One silver lining in this pandemic, glad that the pace of life has slowed down and everyone is home. We have dinner together as a family every night. Wow. That's true. Wow.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something special about that, like having dinners or just sharing a meal with like your loved ones. And yeah, like I know personally, like with my family, pre-COVID, we would do like Sunday lunch together every week, and I kind of miss that because it was a time for us to kind of like catch up on how our weeks have been like, because we all like are very, very busy. So it was nice to like just spend an afternoon eating together and just like, you know, talking about life, work, shit, I don't know, anything. And yeah, I could see, yeah, the value with that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And we have a question from Delilah. Is CripTalkCorner a reoccurring thing? Maybe.
Do you want it to be?
Yeah. Depends on you guys, and
Yeah.
would love it to be. If you guys are down for that and are interested in that, like we can't say that it's going to be like a weekly or monthly thing. It's going to basically depend on our energy levels. So you all may get basically a heads up like a week or two before that CripTalkCorner is happening on such a date. That's how it's going to go basically. But we're going to try to keep it consistent in the sense of like the day of the week and the time. So it would be on a Monday at 7:15. Whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and that's also again because the folks from Cinema Politica also offered to share our video on their social media and stuff, and that's also the time when they have other videos. So between the two of us, we can kind of like keep things happening for people out there. And to be honest, like we've brainstormed some other themes that we would love to touch on. But yeah, today was certainly just wanted to see how it went and if people were up for it. And likewise, we'll also invite like feedback after for sure.
Please.
So please do comment on our Facebook page. And if it's something like ideally, you just comment on this video to give us feedback so that other people can see it. But if you want it to be more anonymous, you can also write us a message in the Accessibilize Facebook group. Right now, we're just using Facebook because that's just what we have like energy for. But if people are watching this after the fact, sorry, if you can find us, if you want to make comments, find us on Facebook. That's what we have like availability for at this point.
Yeah. So we have a few last closing comments here and questions. Yeah, we'll try to be cognizant of time, but I'll just go through quickly the last few questions, folks. All right, so I have one from Shanice. Hey, Shanice. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing and translating. Wondering if you each have a suggested recommendation for what employees can do to advocate for better accessibility in workplaces if/when we are no longer working from home. Ooh.
Would you like to brainstorm and then offer that next time gift?
Yes.
Or does anything come to mind straight away?
I think like maybe, yeah, I think I'd have to jump on that on our next series for sure. I'll get back to you on that, Shanice. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you for
Shanice.
bringing
I
that,
took
'cause
a
that's
note of it.
Yeah, that's something that's super, super important for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
don't want to rush through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Priya K says, wow, this was absolutely wonderful. Thank you for creating this space and sharing, especially during time of isolation. Connection is key and relationships matter. Thank you for honoring that. Oh, thank you, Priya.
That's so sweet. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. All right.
We missed one from Simon, which I feel like we should say because
where is Simon?
He said, no thanks, not interested in moving to the States. And that's real, man.
Speak your truth, Simon. Speak your truth. Respect.
That shit is scary. So scary right now. So yeah, totally get that. Okay. I think we should say goodbye for this time.
Yeah.
And thanks. This has been really chill. I honestly feel like I've hung out with like some new friends tonight. So that's fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you guys for participating. Spread the word.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys soon again. We don't know when, but you will see us spamming your Facebook pages. And
that's right.
Email.
We'll branch out to Instagram maybe if we're brave.
maybe.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Yeah, hashtag CripTalkCorner for helping get the word out too.
When I say Crip, you say corner. Crip.
Corner.
Come on, folks. You can say it in the comments.
I can't hear you.
Let's coordinate for a second. A second.
Oh, okay, yeah. Warmed up. Me.
Me. All right. When I say crip, you say corner. Crip.
Corner.
Crip.
Corner.
Boom. When I say crip, you say corner.
Corner.
Crip.
Corner.
Crip.
Corner.
Respect. Much love.
Love it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you. And thanks to Brooke for doing an amazing job with translation.
Thank you.
Thanks to Charles for managing all these comments and forwarding them to us.
Yes, thank
you, Charles.
Appreciate
both of you. And thank you guys also for creating such a wonderful, intimate space tonight to be with you guys. We really appreciate and hope to see you soon. Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.